Hello everyone, we're at Hidden Lake, which is part of the Harpeth River State Park. And this is, I've already done everything I'm going to do today, but I'm recording. Now at the end, I'm going to tell us about where we're going to go. So right now we're at the parking lot. We're right here. From the parking lot, there is something called the Bluebird Trail. It's flat, it goes around a field. It's quicker if you go this way to the left, but if you make the entire loop, it's just one flat, great for children. From there, all of the trails that are further in the park go on this red trail, crosses the bridge. And then we get to this one spot where it goes off in 3 different ways. We're going to start by going the quarter mile to Hidden Lake, and then back. Then we're going to take the loop called the loop trail. We're going to go around the right side. A couple of surprises at the H and then the other H. Once we make it back to the fork, then we're going to go to the Railroad Spur Trail, which is another 0.15 miles one way. Then also here from the parking lot is a boat ramp to the Harpeth River. Alright, so next up, I'll skip all the way to the Hidden Lake. But we've also got the second little lake right here. Along the Bluebird Trail, we're going to have these storyboards that if you make the whole circle loop, it'll be a complete book. I'm starting to see several state parks do that now. Here is the lower field loop. This trail is 4/10 of a mile. And I'm not going to take it today. It just makes one big loop from right here, but we're going to keep going down the Bluebird Trail. Here we are at Hidden Lake. It took me about 22 minutes to get here. This is not a paved trail. It is a muddy trail. It rained yesterday, so it was a little bit slick in a lot of places. But this area I've got right here is perhaps the steepest part that I've been on all day. So this lake right here was one of the Nashville area's earliest rock quarries. When they were done quarrying the rock out of this area, they turned it into a lake. I guess that's what happens to a lot of old quarries when they no longer can produce any more rock for you. It is right now early November, so a lot of the leaves have already changed, and it's going to be too cold. The water's going to be too cold to swim, although today is a perfect sunny 70 degrees. So walking around out here is great. We are in Davidson County, so that's Nashville, but on the far west side of town. If you take Interstate 40, this is at the McCrory Lane exit. That's about a mile north of the interstate. There's a parking lot. I am recording this on Veterans Day 2024, and it's a day where there's a few cars here. It's not too busy. It's probably more popular when you can swim out here. This is considered a Tennessee State Park. We are, it's going to be part of the Harpeth River State Park, although there are no real facilities here. But there are other things to see at the park other than just the lake, and I'm going to try and walk around to some of them. there might be an overlook from up high on another trail. On the day I'm recording this, it's around 11 o'clock, so the sun is still behind me for this vantage point, still in the rising from the east. So that's when you can get some great views right here. If it became the afternoon, it all might look like the cloudy area on this side. Over the years, there were plans of turning this area into some kind of real estate development. We'll see evidence of that later on in this video. There's been ideas of turning it into more of a commercial park. But now that it's part of a state park and part of the Harpeth River Natural Area State Park, we're not going to see any commercial developments up there. Now, this park does not have anything like a gift shop or visitor center. Just a parking lot, a couple of porta potties, and instructions, a trail map how to get here. And there's several trails, and I think if you walked all the trails that are in this park, it'd be about 2 miles, maybe a little more. I don't want to get too close to the water, but I see a couple of really tiny fish swimming around in there. There you can see some of the rock bluffs. I guess that's where they stopped the quarry. If you hear yelling in the background, that is another family that was right behind me. They brought several kids, so they're having a good old time. The park doesn't allow any overnight stays, so there's no camping here. All right, that's all for the lake for right now, but let's see where some of the other trails of this park take us. You can see some of the industry that was here a long time ago. As you can see the large screws through there. When I first got here, the other family said there is a hidden little spot up here. And I wanted to give them their privacy, so I didn't come up here yet until they had passed me, but let's see what is here. We've walked further from the lake. There's another pipe of some kind. And I'm going to need to use my hands right here. Well, what do you know? There is a second smaller lake out here. Come to think of it, I think I did see this on the map. But this is not part of the Hidden Lake. It's part of the Hidden Lake Park. But there's one really tall rock you have to climb to get here. But they meant for people to be here because of the rocks that are here. I mean, the benches that are here. So another beautiful spot. Fishing is not allowed here, but someone did get their bob stuck up here. It's called the Harpeth River State Park because the Harpeth River does run very close to here. And there's even a boat ramp from the parking lot here. So we are very close to the Harpeth River, but this is not actually part of the Harpeth River. You can fish in the Harpeth, but you're not, I don't believe you're supposed to fish here. All right, let's keep going. There's a piece of railroad track right here, and later on we're going to get into the railroad history of the area. So once you're about 15 minutes into the park, you get to this spot where the trail goes off in 3 different directions. Of course, I just went down the Hidden Lake Trail. Next, we're going to take the Ridge Loop. So the Hidden Lake Trail goes to the left and goes down a little bit. The Ridge Loop goes up to the right. Then there's also the railroad spur. That goes off this way. And we've got a marker here that talks about the Newsom Crushed Stone and Quarry Company. Newsom's mill is also part of the Harpeth Lake area and is not that far from here. So now we're going to take the Ridge Loop. A lot of old bricks right here. Looks like we've got a little bit of an overlook of that second smaller lake. Right here. Though not any great views, and it's going to be a little bit of a fall, so I'm not going to go any closer to there. And now we come to our first abandoned building. See, there's a hole in the bricks over there. Kind of a high step right here. Whatever this was, it had 2 rooms. Well, at least cut in halves. And then a door on the other side. There have been several really old guides here of explaining some of the trees. This one's one of the easier ones to read that I've seen. So we've got this tall tree, must be an eastern red cedar. Look at this abandoned basketball hoop on it. I wonder how old that is. And that was a part of this building, so I don't know if this was someone's house. There's trees growing inside of it now. We've got some old steps. Yeah, I wonder if that's an old washing machine. Yeah, certainly wouldn't want to be walking around there at night, but the gates close at 4:30. I don't know if that's every day or if it's just now that we've reached after daylight savings time. Another tiny little structure right here. Concrete blocks. Some water pipes in there. And now we've got this abandoned shed that goes along with the property. cardinal flew off back there. Gotta be careful where I step. Look for nails. I'll just stick the camera in the window here. And now we'll keep walking. Sometimes you might hear cars in the background. That's going to be US Highway 70 running between Nashville and Pegram. So on the Ridge Loop Trail, right after that barn, the little shed that we saw, the trail kind of split off into two sections, and it makes a big loop here. I went to the right. The way to the left looks steeper. And we've got another split right here. So at this spot, the way to the right is just completing the trail. The way to the left is just kind of a shortcut. And so to complete the trail, I'm going to go to the right. Well, this gives us a hint as to what's coming up next on this trail. But first, we are at the scenic overlook on the other side of Hidden Lake. We are pretty high up. That is a steep drop down below, and not enough leaves are gone that you can really see anything too great right here. So I'm not going to get any closer. So here we go. This is an abandoned railroad car. Now someone just stuck that log in the top, but one of the trails earlier was called the Railroad Spur Trail. So there are live train tracks that run through the area that parallel the highway. But at one point, a spur line went through the property. This was a liquid train car that I believe is over 130 years old. So we're talking the late 1800s. It derailed, ended up right here. And over the last century, it's slowly gotten covered up by earth. So that's something you don't see every day. Let's take a look. And unfortunately, people use this as trash. That is quite a big drop. If I drop my phone in there, I'm not getting it back. So I am backing my phone away from there. But I mean, you can see the old rivets that are on here. That's just amazing, and I have never seen a partially buried train car anywhere else in my life. The one thing that really surprises me, I knew this was here. I was not expecting to be so high up, because over the edge right here, the lake is way down there, so it's got some high elevation. If you can see any of the grassy fields in the background, that is a veterans cemetery out that way, but this is high up. I was expecting this to be at a lower elevation, similar to everything else. So now we're going to keep going. So now I am back to a little cutover spot, which would have come from the left, and we're going to go uphill even more to the next spot. And then from this vantage point, I actually saw cars going down Highway 70 from here. Now on that train car, it had the letters UIL and then the numbers 94. So I don't know if that's just a serial number, or if it means anything, or if it means 1894. I guess I'll have to research that when I get home. So here we come across, we're pretty high elevation, so it was kind of a moderate walk to get up here. But here's the next point of entry, I mean the point of interest. So many decades ago, there was an idea to turn this into a recreational park where people would pay to come out here. And they built this dance floor, and I believe this is made out of marble. It doesn't look like polished marble that you'd see in your kitchen countertops, but you can see a groove right along the edge right there. And I'm thinking this area dates to about the 1940s or 50s. I'm just going from memory. There's not any markers out here that explain it. You can see the work done into building this up here. Quite a hike to get up here. I wonder if you could drive at the time. Whatever this stone structure is, toppled over the decades. Right next to the dance floor, we have a black cherry tree. And then another scenic overlook with a big drop right here. I don't want to get any closer than that. But you can barely see the veteran cemetery across the way there. It's the green pasture looking area. I can hear a motorcycle going down the highway too. And we've got a kind of a downhill walk from here. Here's one of the best overlooks right here. And so it's still quite a ways down, but get a good view of the cemetery over there. We are back to the other side of the smaller lake, and we're also back to the point where the loop trail kind of meets, because we're back to that shed back over there. So when you start, you come from the house that's that way. You see the shed right here, and you've got two choices. That's the left side of the loop, which goes uphill kind of a bit, and then you've got the right side of the loop, which is flatter. I'm back to the three choices here. We've done the Hidden Lake Trail, we've done the Ridge Loop, we've got the railroad spur. We're going to go off this way. And this is 0.15 miles one way. So let's see what's down here. Well, you can see how close we are to the train tracks because there's some track maintenance equipment going down the tracks. You can see the train tracks, and the highway is just on the other side of these tracks right here. I don't know if there's anything else worth seeing down this way. All right, here we are. We've made it to the tracks, and apparently at one time there was a railroad switch right here, which is why it's called the Switch Trail. I'm not going to go on the tracks, but you can see way off in the distance there is the machine maintenance going on. As we head back to the parking lot, there is one little bridge right here that goes over a stream. We're now at the spot where all the trails have somewhat come together. From here, it's about a third of a mile or so back to the parking lot. The trail does parallel this creek for a little bit. And then whatever this post used to do, there's another pole there, or another one in the water down there. Pipe, that's the word I'm looking for.